Hello, welcome to Elemental Hardware Enrichment. I'm Jacob. Today we're going to be building a toolbox. First thing we're going to do is open up our toolkit here. For this project we're going to need a hammer, and we're going to need a flathead screwdriver. Go ahead and put these things away. We can use this screwdriver here, open up our box. All right. Now, before we do anything else, if you aren't already wearing glasses, you need to put some safety glasses on. Go ahead and unpackage our box here. Now, if you like, you could actually take some of your paper and flatten it out on your desk. And you can tape that down, and you can use that as a surface to work on so you don't get any mess on your desk. I like to keep my area nice and clean as I'm working, so I don't need the paper. All right, so we should have a dowel, two sides that kind of look like the front of a house, then you're also going to have two sides like this, and a big piece that is your bottom. So, we have all of our pieces out here. We should also have a damp rag, some wood glue, and some sandpaper. Now, the first thing we're going to do is just take our sandpaper and clean up all the edges. We want to make sure there's no splintering or any roughage around the perimeter of your pieces, so let's take a couple minutes and make them nice and soft. You can take 2 blocks if they're the same size. Do 2 at a time and speed up the process a little bit. All right. I also like to take the end of my dowel, wrap up the sandpaper, and just taper the end a little bit so it gets a little bit smaller. Not too much, just enough that we can make it easy for it to go in its place later on. And we also have a hardware bag here, and this is going to be full of 1-inch nails. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our bottom, and we're going to take our side 1 and 2. We're going to set our sides up like this, our short sides. We're going to put the bottom right on top of it. I'm going to use these to kind of help keep everything together. We can line them up like that so we can see what we're doing. And we're going to glue this edge and nail them from this side. So look at your board. You might notice that there's one side that has the holes like our cleaner, and the other side, they don't look as clean. So we're going to take the cleaner side and put that facing up right now because we're going to put the nails through there. It's going to make it easier for us. So we're all set up here. I'm going to take some wood glue and spread it here on one side. Even it out with your finger. You could use your rag to clean up. Then we're going to place this side, we're going to try to line it up really good as we're sticking it down into the glue so we don't get the glue everywhere. We want to make sure we're nice and flush on this edge and this edge. I mean, you can't feel any kind of a ridge or anything like that right there. You want it to be nice and smooth, the seam. Both pieces feel like one. All right, now we're going to take our hardware bag here, dump it out. You probably have a tray or something to dump your nails into so they don't go all crazy. We're just going to go ahead and put one nail in each hole right now on the side that we glued. All right. That one didn't want to go in there. Now, you could take this other side and make sure you're just out here somewhere. Just going to give us support so it doesn't go crazy on us while we're hammering these down. Make sure you're still flush and start one nail with a couple taps. It's going to keep it from going anywhere. We'll do the same thing on the other end. Now we know we're set good and we're flush everywhere and it's not going to move. We can go ahead and set all of these nails. It's important when you're nailing that you're coming straight down on the nail so it doesn't bend in one direction or the other. And feel that they're all flush as well. Looks good. And we can clean up that glue while it's still wet. And we're gonna roll that like that and glue the other side. Actually, I'm gonna stick this here for 1 second. We're gonna glue this. Spread it out. It's okay if your glue gets a little messy, but try not to get too crazy. We're going to bring it down nice and easy again and line that up as we're doing it. Just like that. Make sure we're flush on all of our corners. And go ahead and put one nail in every hole. Okay, make sure you're still flush. Set a nail. Same thing on the other end. Nice and flush there. Our nail is set. We feel flush all the way. Actually, it kind of feels like it's flush on this corner and this corner, but it's not here in the middle. It's sticking out a little bit. So this is a good opportunity to try and fix that. We can apply some pressure on this side and squeeze and then set the nail here. Now we're flush all the way, nice and flat. Next step, we're going to take one of these sides that looks like a little house and we're going to put it on one side or the other. It doesn't matter which side you put it on, but you do want to check your piece again and make sure that it looks clean. See, one side looks like a little rough like this. You might want to put that to the inside of your box so that the outside looks really nice and clean. So in order to do this, we're actually going to have to stand this one up. I'm going to set it aside for a second. I'm going to set this down. We're going to put some glue on this edge. All the way around here. And spread the glue with your finger. All right, now we're going to take that piece, make sure you're sitting the right way, set it right on there. Again, you want to make sure everything's nice and flush. Now here, I have a situation where it's not flush over here, but it is on this side. So what we'll do is we'll start on one side. We have this corner here where both of these sides are nice and flush, so we'll start down here. We'll take a couple nails. Right in that corner. That feels good. I'm going to get those started right there. And actually, I don't want it to move, and that feels good, so I'm going to just set those nails right now. All right. Now, we're going to try one on the other side. It's nice and flush here. And I'm just going to leave that nail like that for now. Now we're going to come over to this side. You see this is going on here. We're going to try to pull that in just like that. Actually, it went really easily. But we need to make sure it stays there, so we're going to hold it just like that. We're going to take a nail, set it in a hole on this side, and give it a couple taps so that doesn't move around on us. And now, it feels pretty good all the way around the whole box. So let's put the rest of those nails in their holes and nail this off. Oh, there's already a nail in that hole. I was trying to stick it in there. All right, let's set all these. Also, don't get in too much of a rush. You want to make sure you do a good job. I just have a little bit of experience with a hammer. Make sure they're all nice and flush. That looks good. All right, starting to look like a toolbox. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to flip it on the other side. And we're going to bring that dowel in. Now remember, it only fit really good on one side, so we're going to make sure we test fit it again. That looks good. So we're going to take some glue here, put it on the end of our dowel. And drop it in the hole. When we do that, we're going to spin it around a little bit because we want to spread the glue all the way around and make sure it gets on every bit of the wood down there. And we can even spread it with our finger a little bit if we need to. Just like that. And we're going to leave that there for a second. We're going to get our other piece. Make sure you have a good look at it and you know which side you want to use. Both sides look pretty good on here, so it doesn't make a difference. We're going to glue this top edge again. All the way around. Spread it out with your finger. And clean up. Now, we also want to make sure we put some glue over here too, because we're not going to have an opportunity to do it any other time. So I'm going to put it kind of right on the corner of this dowel because I want it to fall down with the piece as it goes. And actually, I'll just go ahead and spread it around a little bit too. And don't worry about being messy because we can clean it up later. All right. Well, first thing, you're going to put that right into the hole on your piece on the side. And you might actually need to give it a little bit of help with the hammer. Make sure if you have to hammer it that you hammer all the way around the hole because you don't want to give uneven distribution of the pressure. So just like that, it's nice and flush now. But you can see we're a little crooked over here, so we're going to bring that right back to where it needs to be. Now you might actually need to go even a touch further. Now it's okay if it sticks out a little bit on the edge here. It might not do that, but if it does, you could sand it off later. I'm actually going to bring this out to the edge here so it's easier for me to work with. Make sure it's nice and tight all the way around this seam. You don't want any space in there. And it feels flush all the way around. This time it's going to be much easier this time because we already made it square with this edge. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill up all these holes with my nails now. All right. This nail's kind of messed up here on the point, so we might just set that one to the side. You should have an extra nail or so, but if not, your teacher might be able to provide you with some. That's much better. All right, so make sure we're still flush on all our corners, or at least start with one corner. This one feels good over here. Let's set a nail. And I'm going to come back over to this side, make sure this is flush here, and set a nail here. And I'm going to give it a little tweaking here and try to get this corner flush too, and set a nail down here. That feels pretty good. So now we can set them all. Check it one more time. That feels good. Send them home. Make sure they're all nice and flush. That looks good. All right. Look at that. That looks like a toolbox now. Make sure you take your rag and clean up any glue. I see a ton of glue spots here that you should probably get them as you're going, but you still have time to get it now before it dries. All right, that looks pretty good. Now, remember we were talking about these dowels here on the side. If that's sticking out, you're going to want to sand that off. And you're going to take this time to sand all the way around all the edges and make sure that everything's nice still. If you have rough areas on the sides here or here, and kind of here it sounds like sandpaper even when I rub it, you want to make sure you get all that nice and smooth. Otherwise, it could affect your paint job. Once you've sanded all the way around your whole piece, your next step is going to be personalization. You can paint it, you could put your name on it, you could do whatever you like with it. Then you get to fill it up with tools. All right, now that you have your toolbox painted, you're ready to fill it up with tools. Thanks for building a toolbox with us at Elemental Hardware Enrichment, and we'll see you on the next one.